Hi everybody, how's it going today? Do you feel agitated when there is a lot to do? You have a lot to do in a short amount of time, or get super annoyed and I call it flustered when somebody is trying to get you to do too many things all at once? This is me. I get really annoyed. It's usually my kids that are like, Mom, I need this. And I'm like, my head's gonna explode. That's what it feels like. Or maybe life changes, just changes in life really throw you into a tailspin. Maybe you don't show it. From the outside, you look like you have everything together, but on the inside, it's just like chaos running all over the place, and it's just in a big tailspin. If you can relate to any of that, then you're probably highly sensitive. Most INFJs are high sensitive, and INFJs with autism are high sensitive, more so because it's amplified. I'm going to get into that. This is what we're talking about today, is the high sensitivity of an INFJ and INFJs with autism, autistic INFJs. We're going to talk about what it is, understanding fully what it is and what makes us highly sensitive, because I think that's really important, because there's lots of miscommunication, misconceptions around high sensitivity. And also, I want to share with you why it's like a superpower. It's amazing. I am so proud to be a highly sensitive person, and not a whole lot of high sensitive people can actually say that. So this is what we're talking about today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad that you found it, and I hope that you find it helpful. I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And if you're returning, I'm very grateful that you came back. I'm Trina Bretnell. I'm an INFJ, and I'm also autistic. I like to come on here and share with everybody things that I have found that worked for me. I've been working on myself for a number of years. Like, I started seriously working back in 2012. And I discovered along the way that a lot of things don't work for me, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Again, I thought I was broken, I was flawed, whatever it may be. Then I discovered I was an INFJ. That's when I learned that there's always a missing piece. So we can do a lot of personal development, get better, find our purpose, that sort of thing, get out of that dark hole, but there's always something missing when we're following those gurus. So I figured out the parts that were missing, and I thought that I would come on here and share it with other people that are like me, that are INFJs and also INFJ with autism, so that you all feel less alone, feel heard, feel less flawed and less broken, and feel the confidence to just show up in the world like your amazing self, because we really are amazing people, and the world really does need to see us because we're amazing. We do awesome things, but we hide it for most of the time. Anyway, that was really long, and let's get into this. Welcome to my channel. I kind of went on a rant there. So most of us throughout our life, let's reverse that for a sec. Sorry, I'm still fighting my cold here. Most INFJs are high sensitivity people. So HSP, you've probably seen that, right? If you're autistic on the spectrum, I can almost guarantee that you're high sensitive. Everything is like amplified. So, and a lot of INFJs are autistic. Now, I'm not saying that all INFJs are, but like a huge portion of INFJs are on the spectrum, and that's an amazing thing. So don't feel bad about that. Don't be scared about that. It used to scare me, but it doesn't anymore. It's awesome. With that being said, because we're INFJs, we're high sensitive, most of us. If you're autistic, you're going to feel that even more. So our sensitivity is going to be amplified, like, I don't even know how much, but it's a lot more. Okay, so when I say high sensitivity, when I first seen that, I'm like, well, that's an understatement, because like what I feel is way more than high. Okay, just to get that out of the way. So if you're an INFJ, you probably are high sensitive. If you're autistic, then you're definitely high sensitive. However, most of us have been taught throughout our life that sensitivity was a bad thing. Our sensitivity, this was a bad thing that we had, okay? We were told, grow thicker skin, or quit being such a crybaby, a sissy, a drama queen. It was bad to show our emotions, to express how we were feeling, to get very shaken up about those sad dog videos of abused dogs, and you just keep that all in and hold it in. I remember a time, it was a long time ago, I was very young, maybe grade 1 or grade 2, but I wasn't in school. It was, I don't know, on a break, spring break, whatever it may be. And we were at a relative's place, And it was a very busy household, lots of noise, lots of action going on, and it was massive sensory overload for me. There were kids there, I didn't know them. Pardon me again. I didn't know them. So that was very awkward for me when I didn't know somebody. And they definitely targeted me because I was different. I was a different kid, right? So they were really, really mean to me, calling me names, that sort of thing. And when that would happen, I would just get really quiet. I've since learned that getting quiet and not talking is like a bit of a meltdown in the autism world. So that was interesting. I spent most of my life in a meltdown. Anyway, I got very, very quiet and just kind of went off on my own. And of course the adults would come, well, what's wrong with you? Like, I was from my family. A lot of my family is not high sensitive at all. They're very tough, rugged, and you don't show any of that. And if you do, you're a sissy, a crybaby. And that's basically what I was called. Oh, get up. Don't be such a sissy. Grow thicker skin. You're such a crybaby. I remember them telling me that. You like my voices? I had to put voices in there. Because that's what it sounds like in my head when I think back of this. Yeah, and it was just, I felt really bad about feeling bad about them calling my name. So anyway, I got to a point where I thought that it was acceptable for people to treat me that way, to call me names. And then I truly started believing that's who I was, because I wasn't allowed to feel the feelings that I felt when that happened to me. Does that make sense? It caused a lot of work anyway in me. So I mean, that was my sensitivity there, and I've got scolded for it. So I thought it was a bad thing throughout most of my life. Now, I'm not judging any of my family for being that way at all. I try not to judge anybody for anything, because society didn't know what sensitivity was, high sensitivity was, at all. And what they did, or what they thought they knew of it, it was a bad thing, right? From the 1600s on, sensitivity was named madness or hysteria. Did I say that right? Hysteria? Like that's not nice. Madness, hysteria. Later on, it was moved to emotional reactivity. I'm not sure what year it was moved to that. That doesn't sound very nice either, emotional reactivity. And it was mostly only, or thought to believe, only seen in women. So it was related to hormones. So it was like, oh, it's the woman, the hysteria woman, right? And you didn't want that. I mean, that was a real negative connotation around that. You didn't want that. So women learned to hide all of that, which caused a whole bunch of turmoil. It can cause like depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. Remember I was saying about being back when I was a child and getting called those names, and I just got so that I believed that's who I was. That's what I was, and it was okay for people to treat me that way, right? And that's what it would cause by suppressing all of this. Today, fast forward a little bit, today sensitivity is understood in some disciplines. It's well understood in some disciplines, but as a whole, it's not. Society still has a long ways to go to understand sensitivity, but I do believe that they're on the way to understanding it, and I have a good feeling that society will come to understand it, especially because more high sensitive people are coming, I like to say coming out of the woodwork, including men, because it is not just women, it is men, but heaven forbid if a man is high sensitive, right? I think it's great, but not everybody thinks that way. So the term HSP, or highly sensitive person, was coined as a way to describe more extensive depth of processing that occurs in about 20% of the population, I think it was. Yeah, 20%. We're going to say roughly about 20% of the population, which when you say 20%, when I say that, it doesn't sound like much, but think of the world as the whole. Like 20%, that's huge. That's a lot of people that are high sensitive, right? It's like, that's a lot. It's not just a tiny, tiny group. That's a lot when you think of it as a whole. So for an INFJ, high sensitivity means the heightened awareness and responsiveness to various stimuli, like emotions, environment, sensory output, that sort of thing, right? And now for INFJs with autism, heighten that, like double it, maybe even triple it. It's the same, it's the heightened response, it's just even more pronounced in our body. Now the thing I really want to stress is that High sensitivity is not a disorder and it's not a flaw. Even though you were made feel like it was, probably made feel like it was, it is not. It's not a disorder and it's not a flaw. Now, there have been studies done on it, and it's quite interesting because certain areas of the brain show heightened activity to sensory input. So MRIs have shown increased activation in regions involved in awareness, empathy, and the self-other processing parts. Self-other processing. Yeah, that's what I want to say. So that's very interesting that it's heightened activation in those regions. The prefrontal cortex, which is our decision maker and complex processing part of our brain, is more active. That's very interesting. And now, I can't say this word very good. Amygdala, did I say that right? Amygdala, the emotional part of our brain, the emotional processing part of our brain, is more responsive in highly sensitive people. So that's very interesting. This is why it's not a disorder, it's not a flaw. It's just the way our brain works. Our brain is working different than other people. So you've heard the term neurodivergent. This falls into it. Our brain is just processing information different than other people. Not wrong, just different. But this makes us unique, and it is not a liability, it's an asset. And I said I was going to share with you why it is not a liability, it's more of an asset, because so many of us hate this part of ourselves. I know I did. I did for a long time, up until I understood what high sensitivity was. So I'm going to share only 3 because we'd be here a long time. There are so many reasons why our high sensitivity is an asset, not a liability, but I'm only going to share with you 3 today. I picked out the 3 most interesting ones that I thought today were the most interesting. Tomorrow I might find different ones that I find interesting, but today these were what I found. So the first one is our ability to understand and feel emotions of others. I picked this one because I hated this part of me. That I hated it so bad, and I tried to drop it for so many years, and I can't. Of course I can't. It's the way I process information. I can't get rid of it, right? So this part of me allows us to provide genuine support and understanding. Genuine support and understanding, right? This is cool if you're a teacher or a counselor or a caregiver. However, when you mix it with my next point, the visionary thinker part, this allows us to be really good visionary thinkers. We can envision positive changes and improvements around us. So within our house, in our community, in our job, our workplace, in groups that we're involved in, you get the picture, right? But it goes further because we can really motivate and inspire others. So we become leaders in progress and development. Now pair that with the ability to understand deeply and feel those emotions. That makes us outstanding leaders. Because a few years back, most leaders that were chosen to be leaders weren't people like us because we were thought of as being weak. That is changing. Lots of leaders were chosen because of their narcissistic tendencies, because they wanted the people that couldn't feel for other people. Things have changed. They're discovering that people that can feel for other people, have emotions, and can understand others, make exceptional leaders. We have to learn how to deal with it constructively and not take those emotions home with us. But we can do that. That's completely doable. It's not even hard to do. It makes us amazing leaders. Now, my third point of why it's an asset is our unique perspectives. Now, especially if you're on the spectrum. INFJ, we have unique perspectives. Remember I said, now amplify that if you're on the spectrum. If you're on the spectrum, if you're autistic, you have very unique perspectives. Probably shut down a lot throughout life because of it, got eye rolls, whatever, but it's an asset and we need to lean into it. We can challenge the conventional thinking, which leads to breakthroughs and new understandings. Again, pair it with those other 2, the ability to understand emotions and feel them, our visionary thinking, and to challenge that conventional thinking, leading to breakthroughs. That makes us an asset around the workplace, in careers, even at home. Once we lean into it, the thing is we need to lean into it. We need to accept it. We need to feel those feelings and not suppress them anymore. You know, watching those sad dog videos, I always talk about the sad dog videos because that's what I always watch. I always make sure they have happy endings, but they are sad and they will put me into a tailspin. And when I'm watching them, they can be very short and I have mega amount of thoughts going through my head all at one time. So, I mean, it could be like a 2.5 minute dog video about this dog who was abused and starved and you name it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Why are they doing this? Blah, blah. And I make myself watch to the end, which doesn't sound like a hard job, but like in 2.5 minutes, like I just said, we can have a lot of thoughts and a lot of emotions running through our minds, right? And our bodies. So I allow myself to feel it. I make myself watch it till the end because I know there's a happy ending at the end. At least I hope there is. If there isn't, it would totally ruin my life. Anyway, and I feel those emotions. And then I'm okay. It doesn't take us long usually to feel those emotions, to let them wave through our body. It doesn't take long. They're gone. They wave through, they're gone, and we're not packing them with them. When we suppress them, we're packing it with us. And it's causing lots of other issues, like off the top of my head, depression, anxiety, low self-worth. I think I mentioned all of this. So don't suppress them. Let them out. Be okay with them, because society is starting to understand high sensitivity, but they need to come further. And the more people that come out and show they're high sensitive, it will encourage others to come out and show it as well and be like, oh, you know what? There's a lot. I mean, 20% of the population, that's a lot. And that's only a guess. They're only kind of guessing at that. They don't really know yet because so many of us have hid it for so long. And the world needs it. I truly believe the world needs it now. That's why they're starting to understand it. And I truly believe that the world needs it. They need to show, they need our sensitivity right at this moment, and we need to show it. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like my video, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel. I also ask you to please share my video. The more times it's shared, the more people we get to help, and really that's what it's all about. Also, if you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing feedback from my viewers. So, or if you just want to share a share an experience of your sensitivity in the comments, whether it was good or bad. We're all here for support. It's a safe place to do so. Please share it in the comments. And if you're not okay with sharing stuff like that in the comments, I'm going to put my email address also in the description, so please feel free to email me. Again, I love hearing from you guys. And if you have something that you'd like me to talk about, please let me know, and I would love to talk about it. Thanks so much for joining me. This was so much fun. I love talking about this, and I think it's so important, and I hope it was helpful. I will see you again really soon with another cool video. Talk to you later. Bye for now.